What's new?
What's new?
And tonight our guests are the girls that you see running around town. And they're going to talk about St. Jude, and they're going to talk about Jour de Fête and marathon running, right?
Correct.
And Iris, feel
Okay.
free.
And Dana Kurtz is going to give you introduce the girls she brought with her and give you some information about the marathons and about what they've done and how they got started and a lot of information. So,
And our partner, Marianne Roth, won't be here tonight, but hope she'll be back in
right,
2 weeks. Yeah.
her father's not doing well, so everybody say a prayer for her.
That's good.
Okay,
Okay,
Dana,
Dana.
you got it.
Okay. Hi, I'm Dana Kurtz. I live in St. Genevieve, work at Citizens Electric, have 4 children, David, Teresa, Caitlin, and Joseph. I've been running for about 10 years now, and
Oh, you're tired.
tired, yeah. And I love to eat, so it's a great combination there. I brought along Melanie Dunsey and Tina Lark. So you can talk about your families or who you are.
You're doing good.
Tina?
I'm Tina Lark. I've lived in St. Genevieve all my life. I started running probably around 4 years ago, I guess, somewhere in that area. I've been running ever since.
I'm Melanie Dunsey, and I've lived in St. Genevieve County all my life as well, and I've been running for about 8 years. I was running on my own for a while, and then I hooked up with Dana, and it's a lot more fun. Running with a friend, and it's a good release from the day, and
Maybe
good
that's what we
friendships.
should do, Iris.
Oh, yeah, right. You're hiding 6 foot under. No time.
Well, that's the funny thing, like with all of us girls, like none of us, you notice that we said, I mean, like I've got 10 years, 8 years, and 4 years, like we didn't start out running. We haven't, it wasn't something I started when I was 38 years old. So I hadn't ran a day before that in my life, just running after kids and things like that, but never anything other, and even not serious walking or anything. And, it's just a good thing for people to know it's possible.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't run at all before, and I ran a Boston Marathon, so I mean, you can do it.
Oh,
You can,
neat.
yeah. You can get out there and go.
Oh,
So
okay.
My kids were involved with track in high school, and I think that's kind of how I got started, but I waited till they were finished, and then I started running. So
Now, do they still run?
they ran, 2 of them ran in college. They don't run so much anymore. They're busy with their families, which,
Yeah.
it's hard when you have children, little children, to find the
Yeah.
time, but it's a little easier once your children are gone, and you need
And-
something to fill that void.
Now, Dana, do your children run?
actually, my daughter did run too. She ran in college, or actually ran in high school, and then she had small first, but by the time she got to college, she was tired from running so much in high school. So she didn't. My oldest one, Teresa, and she just recently, now she's married and it's kind of settled down, got a job, and staying really busy. But she just started a new company, and they have a marathon group going. So she's starting to train for one again. So she said, it's starting all over, but I mean, she's been there before, and she'll get there. So.
What about you, Tina?
Mine try.
You give them A for effort.
Yeah, Jordan goes out every night to the park and he runs the trail, and Brooke runs on and off. She's got bad knees, so. And Mike ran years ago before I started running. When I thought he was crazy, he was running, and now he thinks, I guess I'm crazy, I'm running, and he's put up his shoes and he's stopped. So, but I think people need to know too. I've always wanted to run. And I always told myself I couldn't do it because I'd try, and then I couldn't get anywhere. So I finally found a running plan. It was Couch to 5K, and you just start running really, really slow, and it slowly works you in, and kind of learn your breathing and work your distance up slowly and stuff. And anybody that thinks they can't, I think if you pull up a running program like that, and follow it, you eventually can do it. Because like I said, I started with 5K, and then now we're doing half marathons and marathons, which are 13 miles and 26 miles. So.
Holy moly. 26 miles in one time?
They prefer it that way. They normally close.
You do it all the time.
Yeah, they close the course after usually about 6 hours. You're on your own. So fortunately, we've always made it through. So
Oh, my. I think I'll take a different.
Oh, I'm not gonna do it.
Me neither, I'm gonna try it.
Well, and when you train for these marathons and stuff, you know, you have a schedule. So like right now we're training for a marathon in December, so we're running, like 35 miles a week, and then you slowly, on Saturday is your big run. So you go from like 6 to 8 to 10 to 12 to 14, 16, 18, 20 on Saturdays. You have one day off a week.
Where do you run?
That is
You run
amazing.
to Bloomsdale or
Oh,
St. Mary's?
it's so funny because we, well, a lot of times we usually start at Citizens Electric, we'll start there, and you can run to the river, and you think, you know, that's not that far, but that's 4 miles. But when you want to go and get 20 miles in, we usually will start maybe at Citizens, you run to the river, or you go out industrial, into the Creek Road, and you still have to, and you think that you've covered a lot of ground, but you're not there. You're still looking for more miles at the
10
end
more.
of that. Yeah, 10
Yeah,
more.
10 more.
Exactly. Yeah, yeah. So,
So you're running up hills and everything?
You're not
While you're
running
doing
on
it.
a
Flat
flat
surface.
level.
no.
No.
Ground.
Whatever St. Genevieve has to offer.
They got
That's what we're
hills.
running on.
Yeah. And really,
got lots of hills.
it's good
Uh-huh.
for you because, you know, you go these places and we do the races and that, and, you know, there's nowhere that we've been is flat. I remember one time we had the misconception, we were going to Illinois thinking that it was flat. And we went there and I think it was just nothing but hill after hill after hill. Like, oh my gosh,
But they always say Illinois is flat.
until you go running there.
Till you run, yeah. Lots of hills.
They put the running trails
Maybe you
on the
ought
hills.
to run
huh?
on the highway.
I thought about running to Festus. You know?
Well, yeah, you could as much
Yeah,
as you
I thought about
run.
that, but
Then you could shop and turn around.
there you go. Yeah.
What are you
Usually
gonna
you
do
haven't
with
seen
your-
us.
with
Leave them
your-
out there and go pick them up in the
Oh,
car.
okay.
Yeah, you haven't seen us after we finish running. Most of the time, we're really embarrassed to go into the stores, but people have kind of gotten used to us. They're like, oh, you just got done running, but I'm sure that we don't look as fresh or smell as good as, they're happy when we leave too.
And it's funny because we take our water breaks, of course, when it's 90-something degrees, you know you need water. So I have different friends along the routes, and we always tell them, if you hear your faucet running outside,
It's-
you know,
yeah,
it's
it's
us.
us.
And one of the girls just was selling her house and moving, and Dana even said, did she put in when she sold the house, in the clause, you know, that you may have runners using the
Runners that
faucet?
come by and use your faucet.
Yeah. So
that's-
if you ever hear your faucet run, I know where you live now, too, so you go right out that way.
And you know who it is, so
Yeah,
yeah.
that's okay.
So how
Yeah,
long
Rainy
does it
Broomfield
take
used to
you
stop.
to run 26 miles?
Usually the goal is 4 hours, somewhere on there, so that's just about a 9-minute mile pace and that. So, and you gotta figure in a little bit of time because you do there's water stops, you can stop and get, I myself have not mastered the art of running and drinking. I have to stop and drink because otherwise I just choke. Yeah,
I
so,
probably couldn't breathe after I got running a little ways.
well, we don't sound, I mean, it's definitely different. You're not sounding like a healthy person at that point usually.
Okay, well, tell us some of your ones that you do. I noticed she's got St. Jude Hero.
St.
so-
Jude is one of my favorite runs I like to support. It's just, to me, it's inspirational to go down there and run. This past year, they changed the course, and you actually run past St. Jude Hospital. And, you know, there's a lot of patients, families along the route there cheering you on. And so it's one of my favorite charities to run for. And a lot of the runs are for different charities.
Right.
So,
We probably started maybe 4 or 5 years ago going down, and so there's a group of us, about 10 people that go down. We've done the roadblocks, you'll see, and we'll be back.
yeah, we'll be back again
We'll
this
be
year.
back again this year, but we probably raised about $25,000 in the past couple of years that we've taken down there for them. And that, but we usually get up on a Friday and we head to Memphis. And like she said, we got to tour the hospital last year, and they take you through, and it's just, it
It's
makes you
amazing,
feel,
yeah.
you just have a whole different outlook on things, and you think, 4 hours of suffering is nothing.
Nothing to what they do.
Yeah.
Compared to what those kids have to deal with every day, so.
And the people there, I mean, the parents and the staff, when you run through, they actually have these gates. When you go through, it just chills hit you. and then there's parents and all the kids, and somehow, have the mask on, and, they're all chubby little faces, and most of them don't have hair, but they're out there, and there are parents crying, and like thanking you, like you've just saved this child or something, because of what you're doing, they really appreciate that you're running and supporting them, and just anything that you're doing, it just means so much to them, and you can tell that it's just, they're really into it too, so.
Well, the thing is, though,
That's
you have to,
wonderful.
like, her singlet there, her St. Jude Hero, when we sign up to go down to the race, we sign up as heroes, so we have to raise $500 to be a hero, and that's how you get that shirt. So,
Oh.
you're pretty special when you're running, because not everybody runs in those singlets, because if you don't raise $500,
You don't get
you
a
don't get a
shirt.
singlet. And,
Right,
Yeah.
right.
Or a lot
you
of-
want to wear that, because, they really think a lot of you if they know
Yeah.
that you've, raised $500+ and you're considered a hero, so they're really rooting for you.
Do you, like, years ago, they used to, I'm telling my age now, the kids would jump rope and
Oh, yeah.
stuff at school, and people would pledge. Is that what you guys do? Do you
No,
pledge?
we don't do that. Well, basically, each person that signs up as a hero has to raise like $500, a minimum.
minimum.
When you sign up as a hero, that's your commitment. You're going to run the race, you're going to raise $500 for the St. Jude Hospital.
So you do yours
So we
more
just, yeah, you just,
through roadblock?
we do the roadblock as a group. We do
All our
individual
families, friends.
Yeah, we do individual fundraising. We'd like to expand on that a little bit, but haven't come up with an idea of another good fundraiser to do. Because you hate to hit people up year after year after year, your family and
Right.
friends,
It's always the same one.
But, when we do the roadblock, it's surprising the number of people that say that they pledge to, St. Jude, they pay on a monthly basis, they're signed up, for that type of program, so, and we're like, that's fine, we don't, because then they don't want to give it our roadblock, and we're like,
Right.
well, that's fine, but anyway, that's.
But I think people need to understand too, because there's so many hospitals around here for children, but St. Jude Hospital only takes the cases that nobody else can treat, or diagnose, because that's a research hospital.
Okay.
And
Which is
then
kind of
they
interesting.
don't charge, there is no patient, they don't turn anybody away. They treat all the United States and the other countries too. And there's never, nobody is turned away because of the money, and they don't bill you what your insurance, they take whatever your insurance pays. And so it's 1.4?
Well, $1.4 million.
Is their daily operating
Daily
expense.
operating, yeah. And
then-
Danny Thomas's dream was that no child is to be denied treatment due to race, religion, or the ability for the family to pay. And that was his dream, and that's how the foundation the hospital's been run ever since, so.
And his daughter's carrying that.
And
on
his
now.
daughter, I don't know if he has 2 children, but his children are carrying on his work. And,
What was it, 1964?
1962.
62, they
Mhm.
started, and they said one of the most common forms of cancer, there was a 4% survival rate, and now it's 96?
96%.
Oh, my goodness.
For that one.
I mean,
Yeah, the research has come a long way.
Mhm.
And once you're a patient down there, you're always a patient forever.
Oh, really?
But yeah, they continue to do research and check on you and
to kind of
whatever.
see what that treatment did to you as you get older, as you
Oh,
grow,
okay.
and you have a family, and the effects of that. So there's a lot of, like I said, there's a lot of races, there's a lot of good things out there to support, but I think all of us agree that that's, it's something we'll never, it's what we want to do every year. We want to go back, we want to support this. And
That's wonderful.
I think one of the amazing things that we found out on the tour, and if you ever get to Memphis, you ought to do the tour because it's very enlightening. You think of this huge hospital because it's treating all these children on a daily basis. They treat 250 children a day, but it's only a 78-bed facility.
Oh, my
And
goodness.
they have these, not houses, I guess,
Like
off
Ronald
campus.
McDonald?
Right, yeah.
They have those facilities, and these children are bussed in every day for their treatment, and then they go back to their, either it's an apartment or a house, whatever, depending on the size of the family. So,
There's only certain ones that get a stay, and I think they said it's the ones that, like, their white blood counts are so low that they can catch everything.
Oh,
And
they're
they-
very,
Yeah, they
their
keep
immune
them
system
there,
is really
yeah,
bad.
until they get it up, and then they send them back out too.
So they're kind of isolated away from everybody.
Yeah, yeah. But it was cute when we were down there, you know, you can see these little kids being pulled through the wagons instead of stretchers, they use wagons and,
Oh.
you know, yeah.
Yeah,
it's
that's
just-
what they do up at Cardinal Glen,
Yeah,
too.
it was familiar with a lot of
Yeah.
the same things there, but, just
Yeah, and
amazing.
then another thing that was kind of amazing too, because they're treating children from all over the world, basically. So all these different languages, but they have this area, kind of a central area, and where there's telephones, and any parent can pick up a phone and they can talk to a doctor because they have translators there. No matter what language you speak, so they're able to talk to doctors about their children's cases and a lot of things you don't really think about, until you tour the hospital.
So you do St. Jude, is there any other?
Sure, we've done, I guess, one of the very first ones I ever did we've done lots of half marathons and tons of 5Ks, which is the 3.1 miles. And then after a while, we moved on, kind of do more of the half, which is 13.1, and some, the full marathon. So I've done the Go a few times in St. Louis. Tina's run the Go also. That was her first. And
My first marathon.
Oh,
I swore I'd never do it again, but I am in December, I'm gonna do it again. Not sure why, but I
well, on that note, I just I did the Boston this year, and Tina trained for the entire race. I mean, she ran, when we train for a marathon, it's 4.5 months. It's about a little bit over 800 miles of training. It's 6 days a week, and there's no such thing as I don't want to get up on Saturday morning, or I don't want to get up on Sunday morning, because you're going to get up and you're going to run. Because one thing I've learned, especially, I've done 6 marathons now, that if you don't, come that day, if you're not prepared, there's nobody to blame but yourself, and the more prepared you are, the easier that day goes for you. And looks like we're starting another one. Mel's dealing with a broken leg kind of there. She's been trying to,
femur,
femur. So she's working on that. And we've all had different injuries in that, so we've learned when we can't run, we
did
get
you
out the
break
bike.
your leg running?
I actually did.
Actually, just out.
See, I knew there was a reason I didn't want it.
Yeah, but see, when you get injuries, you help support Mid-America Rehab, the chiropractor.
Oh, that's right, all those
business.
places.
Yeah, we can tell you, we've had some really, really good care here in St. Genevieve, because through the years, we've supported lots of people, and they've also taken good care of us, so.
So how did you fall, Mel?
Dana and I were just running, and I thought I just pulled a muscle in my leg. So, and usually sometimes you have a little twinge here and there, and you just keep running and you work through it. And I did for a bit, but then all of a sudden it's like, this is getting serious.
And she said, oh, my leg hurts, and we always, something always hurts.
Yeah.
It's like we said, we don't know what day, it would be that something didn't hurt. So she kind of mentioned it when we were up maybe around what was it, I was Triangle Inn, we were around there, and she said she started first felt it, and I was like, just run through it. So she gets all the way down here, and then she says it, and I'm like, we're looking, and we're really bad. I'm the worst one about looking at the mile and thinking, okay, we're at 5.5. You only need a half a mile now. That's only like 4 minutes. You can do this.
With a broken leg.
She didn't complain.
I kept going because I'm just getting back to running, and I was like, by gosh, I'm going to get that, that mileage in, whether or not. Well, I shouldn't have, but.
So then you went to the hospital and
Oh, no, I just thought it was
Oh,
a pulled muscle, so I just dealt with it for a couple of weeks, and then I finally went to the
weeks.
doctor, and he's like, well, you have a broken bone in your leg. It's like, oh, okay.
So that made it take longer to heal then? No?
Right, yeah, it's still healing, but hopefully in another month I can start getting active again, so I can be ready for December the 1st. So now I'm only running a half marathon in Memphis. These guys are running a full marathon. So
Only a half, only 13.1
I've
miles.
not graduated to the full marathon status yet. So.
Yeah, I don't think I ever would.
Yeah.
One race we did last year was November, though. It was called the Hot Chocolate, and it was in Chicago. And we went out there, and it was a girls' weekend, so we had a lot of fun. But the neat thing was at the end of the race, it was, 10K, I think it was 9 miles.
Yeah.
You got all chocolate. You got hot chocolate with Cool Whip in it, and then you went and you got your little bowl full of chocolate
There
and
was a
hot melted stuff, and
marshmallow
you had
and-
marshmallows and pretzels and all that fun stuff.
And chocolate
Dip
fondue.
in the
It was-
chocolate, so.
It was
And
good
then
chocolate too. It was, yeah, the Gary
And then
Deli.
you all
was,
got sick.
So then all that running counted for nothing.
That's okay, it was fun.
It was
Oh,
fun.
okay.
And the weather was perfect. You know,
Oh, yeah.
Chicago weather is usually so nasty.
Yeah, it's always
We
raining
lucked
and
out.
stuff.
We had really good
It
weather.
was beautiful.
We had a lot of fun. So we'll see, you have fun, you know, in the meantime.
I just don't think it evens out. I don't think, do you, ours?
It's a
therapy,
so-
I would do it if I
Oh,
could.
okay.
It's a
Yeah.
socialization, you know, it really makes it worth it.
And therapy.
And therapy.
Yeah.
Sure, and it's so funny, because some days you'll get up and just think, you know, you can wake up and just things aren't, you just, as soon as you get out of bed, you just don't feel right and don't want to
I
do
do
anything.
that just
and-
about every morning.
Yeah, you know, and I also think that the last thing you want to do is like go for a run or do something, especially I said once we get into the training and you get towards the end, your body's really worn out and think, gosh, I just don't even want to get up out of bed. And you get up and you start and you talk, you just go along. We talk about our husbands and really.
While you're
So
running,
the
I know
longer you
you
talk
don't
about what your husbands have done and stuff, the faster you run.
There is a lot of truth to that.
Now
yeah.
I understand.
She's understanding quickly.
Tomorrow you're going to be lacing up your shoes.
Another thing, I mean, weather, that's another thing. We ran through sleet was it winter? We were on
Oh,
the
I've
pig road.
seen you running in the rain and everything
Rain and
else.
sleet, we've been on snow
yeah.
and ice, and, oh my gosh, you usually get icicles stuck to the back of your head when your head sweats, and
You come in and you have stuff frozen on you.
people think you're half nuts.
Oh, yes, that does sound like fun, doesn't it?
That's really fun.
But if you ever see us out there, most of the time you will see a smile on our faces.
You do,
Yeah.
you
Yeah.
do. Well, if anybody's got any questions for any of the girls, call 883-7675 and they'll be more than glad to answer your questions. They'll even tell you where you could even start running with them.
That's right.
Sure.
That's right. The more the merrier.
We do
Could
have
you
a,
see going around the square 20, 30 people?
I'm sure people cuss us all the time. We try to get off, you know, when we see them coming and get on try to stay to the side, but sometimes
It
you know,
don't
you
work
don't
like
hear
that.
it.
Yeah, well, the hardest is running, when time changes. And because we always go after work, through the week.
Oh.
And so then you have to have some kind of reflective gear on.
Oh, yeah.
and we don't want to complain about the streets in St. Genevieve, but sometimes, you've got to be careful.
Watch the
Very
potholes.
It's not only the streets, it's sidewalks.
Oh, yeah.
and-
Sure, yeah.
And gullies.
We don't even,
Curbs,
yeah, you don't
yeah.
even do the sidewalks because, there's so many uneven
Everything's getting
changes.
old in St. Genevieve.
We can tell you
Yeah.
exactly where they need to put some like yellow stripes on that sidewalk coming down by the
You-
railroad tracks.
You
There's-
ought to make a list, and you could bring it and give it to me. I would see that
Take care of
somebody
that.
gets
Oh.
it.
Right.
Put it on the wish list.
I could do that for you. I can't run, but.
You
That'd
can't
be a
run
big
with
plus.
your dog.
we know where all the water stops in town, it's like, okay, we can stop at Rhodes and get a drink, or,
Casey's is another good
Casey's,
place
yeah.
to stop in
Stop
at.
there and get a
Sure.
drink.
Several in the park.
A lot of times the little park on Main Street, the restrooms are not open. It's like, oh darn, isn't it time
yeah.
for that to open for the season?
Some of those
Yeah,
things
they
are
should
almost
leave that
necessities.
open,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Marianne, when you talk about running, I remember a few years ago, I ran when I guess I'd been pretty new to running. I was running Metropolis. I went there because it was a Superman.
Oh,
You
yeah.
pick out these things that are funny, so that was something I wanted to do, and I went there, and I remember I ran really, really hard and got done. It was 3.1 miles, but anyway, I had a pretty decent time, and I got done, and I was standing up against a post trying to catch my breath, and there was an old gentleman, very white-haired. It didn't even look like he could stand up straight. And I said, "Oh, did you have a good race?" And he said, "It wasn't too bad." I said, "Oh, that's good." And he said, "It wasn't my best." I said, "Oh, really?" And he said, "Yeah, I finished about 80." I said, I was the 100th person and thought I ran a really, really good race. And to find out this old guy had finished 20 people in front of me. And I was trying to give this guy some sympathy, and I almost kicked him in the knee.
Was that over at Chester?
Metropolis, so I'm not sure what the location. Yeah, we used to go over and do the Popeye a lot too. That was a lot of fun going over there each year. You know, those theme races are kind of exciting and kind of close. But where else? I was trying to think if we've done anything else that's really. I know we talk about some things we'd like to do. There's a flying pig that's in Cincinnati. I always thought that might be an interesting one.
We try to find, I told them we need to find relation that are living in these states and then see what
Well,
races they
yeah.
have, so we have places to
To
stay.
stay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now, are you girls going to be racing Saturday?
We're
Jurafet
working
weekend?
that
Working.
Oh,
So yeah, this year it's the 30th year for the Jurafet race. We were actually, we're all supposed to be kind of taking care of it, but it's usually Jerry Fleeg. We'll give Jerry all the credit. She takes care of it, and just once in a while she'll just tell us a little something that she might need.
Oh, okay.
But Jerry took it over maybe 3 years. So
This is the second
year now, after Amy had done it for 15 or so years.
yeah, I know
And,
Amy had done it for a long, long
Really
time.
good.
Does she
Yeah.
still run?
She bikes.
She bikes
She
a lot,
bikes
yeah.
now.
So it's it's the 30th. It's Saturday morning. Starts at 8 o'clock, and walkers are just. I think the walk starts at 8:40.
I'm not sure.
Yeah, about 8:40, and it's just a good. I think people should get out and try it.
Now, it's all age groups, right?
Yes, uh-huh.
Separated and,
Yeah, they award medals to the top 3 finishers in each age group, and it's usually like 5-year increments, I think. So, and whether you get a medal or not, if you just finish, it's good exercise. It's a good time. So, they have Jurafet has a lot of nice attendance prizes that they award after the races, so that's worth it too.
And the good thing too, anytime you do a race, there's always food at the end.
I know. I went to a race up in St. Louis. My nephew is handicapped, and they had it. I swear I've never seen so much food laid out. And I said, "Who's all the food for?" And my sister-in-law said, "That's for anybody that participates." And I looked at her and she said, "You can go over and get you something, Mary Ann." I said, "I do nothing."
You cheered really hard.
Yeah. But, oh.
Yeah.
No, but there are people like Tina talked about with people just being afraid to go out and take that first step or to get out and try it or nervous. I mean, anybody can ask. I mean, they can talk to us, or there is a Google, there's a St. John Roadrunners on Google that we got set up, but there's not a lot of activity. It's an internet site, so sometimes people get on. There's a little chatter on it, but I mean, we always hope that we drag more people into not drag them in, just get them to join in.
How many
And
people do you have that run?
Well, for the most part, like us, maybe, what do you think? We're pretty regular. Jerry, we have a couple state troopers that join us now and then, and maybe 6, 7 of maybe on a Saturday morning you might see about 6 or 7 of us that are constant.
Are really
and
good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then there's we know that there's a couple different people kind of getting into it a little bit more in that, and we'll pass different people, but I guess as far as joining in, what really maybe the schedules don't work out or something like that, but we're always open to finding different people or having other people come in. And I know sometimes people worry about their pace and stuff, but we can adjust. We'll go a little slower or try to speed up. We got to try to catch them up.
Yeah.
That's
Now
good.
is-
Those guys get us going
Yeah.
faster too.
Is there a bike club in town, bike riders?
Yeah, I think the big one might be through the lime kiln, that a lot of them bike.
I know that I see a lot of them out on those, I call them funny looking bikes, because they got the little skinny wheel. They're not like the bikes that I like to ride. Or used to like to ride.
Yeah, I think there's a big, a lot of them are from Lake Forest too, I think, that have a big group that ride, and I think they do, what is that, MS? Bike
They
ride
do
coming
that,
up in
yeah,
September, I
MS
think.
150 coming up.
That they all support that. That's in Columbia, I think.
Mhm.
And then I think with the Marzucos having the Down syndrome, like having that,
That bike ride.
that bike ride kind of in the
Yes.
hospital
In the
now too,
hospitals,
it has
uh-huh.
brought out a few more people in that.
Now, does bike riding do as much for you as walking does? Or has there anybody ever even thought about it?
I think it does, you know, if you really want to train really well for running and not be injured, you need to mix it up a little bit. Bike riding, cross-training, you know, is going to make you stronger. You use different muscles, so, and if you get injured a little bit running, you revert to bike riding, you know, until you heal and.
They just get to carry the water.
I've been doing a lot of that lately.
Yeah.
So now you're the water carrier?
I'm the water girl now,
Yeah,
yeah.
Oh, okay.
There is a race coming up, and I don't know what the date of it is. It's September, I think the second week of September, and it's taking off at the community center, and I think it's Duck Bader's in charge of it, and it's going to benefit the backstoppers.
Oh, okay.
So I seen the flyers at the community center, so if anybody's interested in that, I know the sign-up forms are at the community center, which is kind of neat, benefit the backstoppers, so.
I know there's like, I wrote down a couple of different ones, like we have the Monster Dash that Mid-America puts on, the Polar Bear the community center puts on, Run Through History, I think Valley does. The Mini Try is bike, swim, and run that the community center does. I think all of us, we'll hit the bike. Mel and I usually try to avoid the pool, and that, but Tina can hit the pool, so.
Is that the one where you run and then you?
Then you
do
ride the
different-
bike and then
different
you
things?
walk.
Yeah,
Yeah, sure.
swim, bike, and run.
And then you run while you're wet?
Feels pretty good, though.
I guess if it's not dead winter.
Yeah, I don't think I would want to do that.
They make you run faster.
The community centers is in May all the time, and usually it's about 80 degrees.
Oh, so
That's
that's
not bad. Nope.
Some of the, I was gonna say, some of the things we talked about with running, would recommend definitely, if you're gonna start running, good pair of shoes. So just, especially us, we put in, so many miles on your shoes. About the time you can actually start feeling it, your knees start hurt, you can tell when your shoes are wearing out. So I think shoes are very important. Dry fit clothes, there's nothing better than that, because you get so wet, especially this kind of weather. Yeah, those heavy cotton things that we used to run in, I remember running in big hooded sweatshirts, and you'd get done and you get home and take these things off, and they would weigh more than what you actually weighed, you think. And then you get, the cool thing too, you get this beautiful jewelry like this nice running watch.
I was going to ask you.
Sure, do you like that?
Yeah, very feminine.
Well, but it's one of my favorite things.
Does it tell you what time it is, how much you've done, how?
Your pace, it'll give you your pace, it gives you the time, tells you your distance.
Your heart
It
rate?
has a GPS on it, yes, so it can kind of
Oh, if you
let you
get
know.
lost, it can find you.
It can, yes, yeah, you got it.
I would need that.
Oh, boy.
Yeah, it lets you know your calories and that, but it's just a real good tool for you to kind of, lets you know how, if you're working as hard as you think you are.
Now, see, this is my one. And it tells me what time it is.
And this is mine.
That's
We all
what-
have our thing.
Yeah, that's what's funny with these cell phones. I don't know what we would do now if we didn't have a cell phone. I really don't. I was a mother of 4 lovely little children, and I never had a cell phone to check where they're at. Now, they're never out of sight because you got that phone. And I thought, those kids don't have a chance to do nothing.
We normally don't run with our phones, but last winter, I guess, the wind was so blustery, horrible. So you try to find a route that you can run away from it, that it's at your back, and it's not coming towards you. And normally, of course, when you turn around, then, it's going to get you. So I think once or twice, she and I ran with the phone, and we ran, I think it was 12 miles out, and then we called my husband. We're like, okay, we're not running back into the wind. Come get us.
Yeah, usually it's a no, we won't take phones with you because, it's kind of
Yeah.
hard to run and talk and whatever, so we usually don't bring them along. And
Oh.
that
But we
was
did
definitely,
twice.
yeah.
You
If
do
it
what
was
you
that
gotta
quick,
do.
yeah. I don't know if I could take that wind in my face. Well, I could.
You have, usually once you're out, you don't have much choice. You either keep going or turn around. So, I mean, no matter what, you got to, keep moving, so. But Mel's her daughter's going to be running St. Jude with her, and she just recently had a baby.
Yeah, she had a baby last year, and so she's trying to get back in shape, and that's a good way to do it. So, and it's.
Well, I hope your bad leg is all better.
If I'm nothing else, I'll walk it.
There are a lot of people that walk, a lot of those half
There are.
marathons.
Oh,
They
and,
walk
and
the
they'll,
13 miles.
and the
Yeah.
St. Jude, there's Santa Claus. I mean, they'll dress up in any kind of costume and run as well. I don't know how they do that, but
It's amazing.
It's just a neat
And when is the
atmosphere.
St. Jude?
December the 1st.
December. Well, you know what though? In a costume or something in December, usually it's not warm. But
It
your
is
body, I guess.
It's just that
Yeah,
bulkiness, yeah.
Well, it's been 50s down there in December, and that's hot.
I think at least 2 or 3 of those I've ran in shorts and a short sleeve shirt.
Yeah.
And that in December, and it's just, sometimes I think the heat follows me when I go to these big races. It always comes along and.
It warms the place up, huh?
It does, it does.
Because we ran in shorts last year, it was 50s.
I
And that
know.
don't sound hot, but it's hot.
Yeah.
But Memphis is nice. They've got Elvis Presley blaring on the starting line. You're just getting ready to race, and there's probably 30,000 people, and it's so exciting. It's just as loud as you can hear "Hunka Hunka Burnin' Love." everybody's grooving, and there's lots of Elvises in the crowd. And actually, there's probably in a lot of the mile marks they have people. They have probably, I don't know if it's probably 50 Santa Clauses along one route you're in. There is Elvis all over the place.
The zoo.
You go through the zoo. There's some young kids, these kid bands that are set up. We go past the church, and we usually get sprinkled with holy water. So appreciate that. Yeah. What other kind of things do we run into?
I don't know. I think the funniest thing I saw one time down there was at the finish line. There's a guy running with a "Will you marry me?" along the route, or he was standing there. I guess his significant other was running, and he had a sign that says, "Will you marry me? I'll meet you at the finish line." And I was like, "Oh, I hope that goes well for him."
Yeah.
And actually, it was at St. Jude last year when you qualified for the Boston.
It was in
Marathon?
2000. It was 2010.
Okay.
Because when
How do you qualify?
They have it set up where for different age groups, male and female, you have to run a certain time. And mine was, I needed to run 4 hours. I did a 3:55, so it was under a 9-minute pace for 26 miles. And so that was really, it was very hard to do. I still can't believe I did it. I want to do it again, really bad, but I don't know if I don't know. It never really, I haven't believed that. I mean, it still doesn't sink in that, even though I ran the Boston, I still can't believe that I ever got that far, because I just know now it's very hard to do. And I'm always lacking the confidence, think I can't do it.
She can do it.
They make me do
She
it,
will
that's
do
what
it.
it is, yeah.
I can, I know I can.
Yeah, and those girls are really good. They're all real positive, and I said I'm always doubting myself, and they pump me up, and the next thing you know, good things happen. So
Yeah.
it's great support. Yeah. So I did go to Boston this year. I will talk a little bit about it. I'll toot around on that. I qualified and I ran there. We went to Boston. We flew in on a Thursday. The race is on a Monday. It's on Patriots Day. So it's a state holiday for Massachusetts. And I don't know does anybody know what Patriots Day is?
Not really.
I do.
Well, let's tell everybody.
I do.
Tell us what it is.
They celebrate the first shot of the Revolutionary War at the Battle of Lexington and Concord. So the entire state of Boston is off that day, and most people it's the Boston Marathon on that Monday, and they set it up. They have the Red Sox play that day, and they have it so that the game ends when they think the elite runners will be coming through. So everybody from the stadium comes out, and they're waiting for the runners to go through, and usually they stay through. But when you run the Boston Marathon, most people stay in Boston, and they bus you out of Boston. They bus you into Hopkinton. It's like 26.2 miles away, if you take the shortest route. So I got out probably at 6 o'clock in the morning to catch a school bus with 30,000 other people, just school buses as far as you could see, and they bus you there. They take you to a high school, and I don't think Hopkinton. I'm trying to think how big the town is. It's not huge, but it's not St. Genevieve, but maybe somewhere a little bit bigger there, and they take you to a high school, and they call it Athletes Village. So the only people that are allowed on this are your runners. And it's real funny, when I first qualified, I didn't know anybody going, and I was looking through the paper, and you could type in your city. So I typed in St. John, nobody else came up, and I typed in Perryville, and I saw this Dwayne Hadler had come up. And Dwayne was featured.
Okay.
He was actually featured in an article because Dwayne he had been a runner all of his life, and he had suffered a stroke, and he was going to Boston this year. And it just happened that Dwayne's sister, Sarah, lived. She was originally from Perryville, and she lived in Boston. So she was great information. She gave me a lot of tips and stuff about going out there. But so when we got to Boston, when they bus you there to this, it's just a high school, and it's 2 fields, and it's just more porta potties than you can imagine, because that's important. That's real important. Yeah. Sure. And you have to wait. They kind of do waves. They have the elite runners that are running 5-minute miles. They get to start first. I don't know why we couldn't go in front of them and they couldn't push us along, but anyway, they get to start first, and I guess that way they're done, and way before they're done, and probably flown back home by the time we get that. But so my girlfriend, this Sarah, told me, she said, "Oh, Dana," she had never met me before, and she said, "Oh, you'll just go crazy when you get there." She said, you just look around, and it's all your typical runners. Everybody's tall and skinny, and I'm thinking, oh, I'm not the typical runner. She's going to be surprised when she meets me. And I saw when I met her and Dwayne, they're both tall and very thin. So it was, and that's another thing. So don't think just because you're not shaped just right. If you're not tall and skinny, that doesn't mean that you're not a runner.
Oh, darn.
That's no excuse. And you don't need both legs or both arms. You'd be amazed, the people that are. So, and then I was going to say about the race. I started racing. So you run through. You actually run through 8 different towns, and that's 26 miles. It takes you through 8 different towns. They figured over 500,000 spectators, and it's just like they stay there. These people get up. They are barbecuing at 10 o'clock in the morning, having their Bloody Marys, celebrating it's just crazy, all the noise and stuff. You run through, Wellesley, the girls' college there, they actually call it Scream Tunnel. They make the girls line the streets for a mile, and you can hear them for maybe a mile or so back. And it's so loud you have to run covering your ears because they scream as you go through. They call it Scream Tunnel.
Oh my gosh.
And then you run by Boston College, and that's all the guys with. I've never seen so many beers in my entire life. Oh, it's just there's just nothing. I mean, they have 2 beers at a time handing out. I didn't partake. I did not partake. I still had 5 miles to go. So one thing too, I don't know if anybody's familiar with Rick and Dick Hoyt. They are. It's a dad and a son, and I'm thinking that. Do you think Rick is maybe in his 40s now?
Probably.
He was born handicapped. I don't know exactly what he has, that he's physically disabled. He can't speak. He has no control of his muscles. And his dad, at some point when Rick was younger, he entered, the dad ran with him in a 5K race. They put him in a stroller type deal, and he ran this race. Well, and Dick Hoyt kept telling the doctors, they told him that there was nothing going on in this kid's head, that he was just basically that, and he did not believe that and wouldn't accept it. And finally he worked with different people, and they worked with the computer and got where he could communicate, and they found out there was nothing wrong in Rick's head, that he was very smart and he learned well, got to go through school. But Rick told him one day when he had done this race, he said, "I felt alive. It's the first time I ever felt alive and normal." So this was the 30th year that this man has ran. So he's done, there's lots, I said, if you go out and look up Team Hoyt, if you ever want to be inspired for anything, you need to go look this up. But Dick and Rick during this race, and at one point I passed them. I can't believe they were up there in front, but I got up to them and I said, "You're struggling and you think you can't do it, and here's this," because the dad is probably at least 60 some odd years old, if not older, pushing this adult now, who's the son who's now an adult.
And he's been doing that for 30 years.
Exactly, yeah. And he's done the triathlons. He'll put him in like a little buoy or thing and swim. He'll swim. It's just amazing. I think he's done a few Ironman. It's just very inspiring. But so that was a real thrill, and I did get a picture with him to make sure to get a picture with them. Trying to think what else was.
And their last name is Hoyt?
Yeah, H-O-Y-T. Yeah.
H-O-Y-T.
Mhm. Yeah. So things there. It was record heat. It was 88 degrees. It said about 102 coming off the blacktop.
Oh my God.
And that's so.
Oh, my God.
They treated over 2,500 people were treated
For heat exhaustion?
they had maybe a dozen people that were critical.
Oh my
At some
goodness.
points that people were coming in with 104 body temperatures and stuff. So that was the sad part. I trained really hard for that race. Mel was injured.
Yeah.
She was injured, and Tina ran. I said Tina ran about 800 of those miles with me, and every Saturday, Sunday, 6 days a week, she gave it all. And so I was really excited because I had trained before. A lot of times when I trained for the marathons, I would train. Carl Schultz was here a lot then too, and I ran with him. So naturally, I said those guys push you a lot harder. Not that Tina's not. Tina's just as fast. but anyway, she was a little bit easier on me, and so I was excited to go into most of the times when the other marathons. By the time it got to be the marathon, I was pretty worn out and had some kind of, a little nagging pain or just something that wasn't quite right. So this was the first time I didn't feel that way. I was feeling pretty strong for it, and real excited to go to Boston and see what I could do there. And the heat was so bad that I couldn't really, it kind of became, you had to really think about it, and you had to make a choice whether you were going to, it was nothing I could just go out and run as hard as you could. I decided, just every mile was kind of readjusting your goals and saying, okay, well, if I can run this pace, and then it'd be like, well, if I can maybe get to here. I was constantly, it was kind of a mind bot, you just had a battle with that. And I said, then seeing people, because there are literally people passing out and falling. And I said, another thing is people pass out water, and they've got orange slices. I had more food on that race. I never usually would do that. I took licorice, I took popsicles, just crazy because, and then they had turned on, the fire departments had opened up, they actually had opened up all their hydrants and were just, shooting out water. People had garden hoses out. And I said it was just the heat was so bad. There was little kids, and I'm pretty picky about stuff like that too, little kids handing out handfuls of ice, and these kids are playing over, and they would reach in these coolers and hand out a hand, and I was like, no, and I got pretty desperate after a while. I put some in my mouth and I spit it out. I thought, I can't do this. God only knows where those kids are. And then after a while, you just, it doesn't matter at all. So whatever it was to get cool, you do, and that. But anyway, I did finish it. I was very fortunate to be able to finish it.
And what did you finish?
4 hours, and I think it was 4:18, 19. I thought it was probably less than a minute off of what I wanted to be, so that wasn't horrible, but I really think I could have done a lot better. But we never know when you go, you don't, and it's always just a goal for me. I think when you train for something for 4.5 months, just the goal of mine is first just to not get injured in the training, and just being able to get there, and then have some fun in the middle, and if you make it to the end, that's the bonus.
That's amazing, anybody can run 20.
Yes.
My running goals are just to finish the race. Their running goals are to beat their prior times.
I like yours.
Well, and it's not always. I said I'm more like when we go to Memphis. Usually, other than the year I knew I wanted to qualify, that I took it real serious, and that was part of the reason I decided to run it in Memphis, because there's a lot of courses. People will go, oh, we'll go to Chicago, or somewhere where you can run a fast, flat course, and that. But I thought if I ever wanted to be inspired to really work hard, it would be in Memphis. It would be at the St. Jude. and that would be a good place. But normally when I go to St. Jude, and I usually just we run the half so we can have a lot of fun and take everything in. I've taken cameras and taken pictures of people and the things along the route, and just to be able to have some fun and enjoy what you're doing too. So.
Well, that's wonderful, girls, because you make us feel like.
Well, hopefully we inspire you to get out there, take that first step.
Well, I have COPD, so I'll never do that. I can walk for maybe 10 minutes.
Well, that's really when I first started. I started out walking. I would walk, and then I picked a course, and it was 6 miles, and it took me, I don't know if it took me an hour and a half, and then I was just like, oh, this is too much time. I need to get quicker. So then I'd start running a little piece, and then before you know, I just kept each time adding a little more, and
that was
before you knew
building
it.
up your stamina
Yeah.
too by doing the walking and the running.
Right, and that's really what got me going there.
Well, there's a lot of walk-run programs out there for anybody that's wanting to start, run their first half marathon or marathon. So, anyway, there's a lot of good information out there.
So if anyone wants to get a hold of any of you, do you want to tell them how they can get a hold of you, or?
You find us on the streets every day. At
Okay, just look for 3 girls running.
We used to find a lot of treasures along the streets too when we
Oh,
run.
I bet
It's
you did.
amazing. Yeah.
Yeah.
Sure.
It's a lot of fun, actually.
And money, yeah.
Money,
We're not
yeah.
afraid to pick up those little
We're not
grungy coins and.
Yeah.
Those little God we trust things, huh? Copper pennies.
Yeah. They'll make fun of me for stopping and grabbing them all the time too. That Tina and Jerry weren't the original when we started out. Ann Munoz ran a lot with us. Ann and Mel and I were running all the time, and we had the deal: if you found money, you had to pick it up, and it had to go. You had to tuck it inside, and so that would be real interesting, you know, if it was cold out, because it's frozen money. And we've also had a case where it was too hot.
Yeah, a little round circle there.
Oh, that's funnier when you go home and you start taking a shower and money's falling. Yeah, that dirty money. Yeah.
Oh, Lord. Well, lots of luck, girls, in your run for St. Jude. And you're going to run are you running it this year?
No, actually, I'd have to qualify again. Usually when you qualify, the race fills up. It fills up within a day or so when they open it up, and that with people, because there are a lot of good people out there running, and that's a goal for them. So usually you have to. It's whatever year you actually have enough to wait a year before you get into it. So no, But I do hope someday to go back. My husband said he won't be going back.
Oh, he went with you?
Yeah, he didn't like say, he said Boston. Well, and maybe if Boston, normally, you know, I guess it's probably a busier place, but you figure that weekend it had 30,000 extra people plus their family, and if they just brought one family member, but a lot of people brought several.
Family.
Right. So that's, you know,
Very
an influx of maybe 100,000 extra people in this one town.
They stand in line for hours for everything.
Yeah, it was funny. He got in line that morning to wait for me, and he wanted a good spot. So he got in line and probably was in this line for 6 or 7 hours. And when I finished running, he was limping worse than I was. People laughed so hard because he had been pressed up against a fence, and he said once he got there he couldn't move because the crowds are just, you know, 8 or 9 thick or something. You know,
So
it's
you just had to stand there?
Mhm. And probably pray that I ran faster.
I can imagine. Oh, yes.
So he limped away. Really, his limp was worse than mine.
But she says about contact you. Why don't you give them the website and some of that stuff? That'd be a good way to get a hold of us.
Just at St. Genevieve Road Runners, if you go into Google, type in St. Genevieve Road Runners.
St. Genevieve Road Runners.
Yeah. Or I said if you just, like you said, just stop and ask us.
You see us on the street.
A lot of times we do run in the afternoon, on the
Just pull
weekends.
up alongside of them and say, I'm interested in running with you girls.
And you want to be on our good side, come by with a nice
Yes,
nice
a jug of ice water.
No cold beers yet.
Oh, okay. But you know what? I read one time that ice water is not good for you. You should drink tap water.
Well,
We'll take any kind of water.
It's kind of funny because when we start out now, just this year, because of the 100-degree temperature, we've been packing water with us. I usually don't like to carry anything extra. Got enough extra weight without the water, so. But we start out carrying, and you start out, and you don't have to run. If you run a mile or two, your temperatures, I mean, the bottle's already warm, so,
Warm,
yeah,
right.
it actually
Just
gets.
anything wet.
And we
it
didn't
feels
get to
good.
do Sarah's show, Sarah's place, where
Oh,
all.
and we didn't get to thank him or anything.
Are we done?
Yeah.
Thank you,
Yeah.
guys.
We made it?
We just cut it right off. You did
They
well.
cut us off?
You did well with
We
the
got one of
hour.
ours
cut
up
off.
because they have to put.
They cut me off before I even talked about Boston, didn't they?
No.
Well, maybe this.
Oh,
I don't think you've been off for
That's
too
when
long.
he, I don't know, probably at some point, he's like, okay, maybe when I start talking about the brawl, the pity in the brawl.
No, he probably was interested, yeah, he wanted to hear more.
Oh, gosh.
You know, it's funny, we
Well,
went
if
up to
Sarah
the,
was listening, she was gonna call in, so now
Oh.
yeah, she
So-
didn't.
oh yeah, we didn't get any
we
calls.
didn't get to say who our guest was next week.
Oh, no.
We
Oh,
were not
sorry.
watching.
That's all right.
That's okay, it'll be.
Well, hey, if you guys want to just keep going.
It'll be okay.
Warmed up.
Oh,
Well, you did well coming for an hour.
So you guys do this every week?
no,
It's every other week,
every other week.
the second and the fourth.
Oh,
So when there's an extra week, then we don't.
And when we started,